In this video we're going to be learning how to multiply surds. So we're going to be talking about multiplication of surds. Alright, so two things that you need to understand with multiplication are these two principles. The square root of a multiplied by the square root of b is equal to the square root of ab. We talked about this principle when we were talking about simplifying surds. Right, so the root of a multiplied by the root of b is equal to the square root of the product of a and b. And the second one, the square root of a multiplied by the square root of a will give us a. So that's a very important principle also right there. So if you have a square root of a number multiplying a square root of a similar number, then you get that number for the answer. Alright, so that means that, let's say you were looking for the square root. I'll just use the square root of 2 multiplied by the square root of 2 should give you 2. Right, so we can explain this using laws of indices, but for the purposes of this video it would suffice us just to understand and to know these two principles right here. Alright, so let's look at an example. In this example we want to simplify the following. On part A we have 2 root 2 multiplied by 3 root 2, and on part B we've got root 5 multiplied by root 3 multiplied by root 6. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to attempt these two problems, A and B. Starting with A, I'm going to give you a minute each or 2 minutes each, depending on how fast you are, to work this one out. So I want you to pause this video starting from now. Alright, so here's our solution. Let's start with part A. Alright, on part A we have 2 root 2 multiplied by 3 root 2. So it's a very simple thing here. What we do here is we first multiply the numbers, that is 2 and 3. We multiply the rational numbers first, and we know that we get 6, right? And we multiply that now next the rational numbers, that is root 2 multiplied by root 2. And remember what we said. We say that in this case if you have root a multiplied by root a, you get a. So in this case what we get is 2, and 6 times 2 is 12, and the simple solution here is 12. So that's the method here when we are multiplying surds. It's not really a difficult thing. I know you'll be able to do this without any challenge. Alright, let's go on to part B. I hope you have done that as well. On part B we have the square root of 5 multiplied by the square root of 3 multiplied by the square root of 6. According to our principle here, what that means is this will be equal to the square root of the product of 5, 3 and 6, and 5 times 3 times 6 will give us 90. But still we can simplify 90 because we know that 90 is equal to 9 times 10, right? And this is the same as the separate square roots of 9 and 10. Square root of 9 is 3, so we get 3 root 10 for our solution. So that is our solution for part B. So it's very simple thing here to multiply surds. Just make sure that you understand these two principles that I just gave you and apply them when you're multiplying surds. Alright, you also need to understand that surds also follow or obey the distributive rule. Alright, with the distributive rule it simply states that, you see, multiplication distributes over addition. So that's what we call the distributive rule. Multiplication distributes over addition. It's a simple thing. For example, here if you look at let's say we have the square root of 2 multiplying addition of 2 plus root 3. Since multiplication distributes over addition using the distributive rule, we multiply root 2 by 2, and that will give us 2 root 2. We also multiply root 2 by 3, and root 2 times root 3, so that will give us the square root of 6, right? And that is our solution right there, as simple as that. Maybe one more example. Let's say we have square root of 2 multiplying 1 minus root 3, so 1 minus root 2 plus root 8. Okay, since according to the distributive rule, multiplication distributes over addition, so the square root of 2 will multiply 1, and we get the square root of 2, and the square root of 2 multiplied by minus of the square root of 2 right here. What we're gonna get, since root 2 times root 2 gives us 2, so in this case we get minus 2, and we also multiply the square root of 2 by the square root of 8, and this will give us the square root of 16, since 2 times 8 is 16. We can simplify, because square root of 16 is 4, right? And now we add minus 2 plus 4, and we get 2. So our solution comes out as square root of 2 plus 2, and that's the solution right here. So that's also what we call the distributive rule when it comes to surds. You also need to be able to simplify surds in that way.